3 up, 2 across, tap that play button 3 times, and walk through the archway into Dialogue Alley. Hello, and welcome to Dialogue Alley, a podcast about Harry Potter books, book translations, and all other things magical. I'm Erik.
I'm Carly.
And I'm Melanie.
And the 3 of us are Harry Potter book translation collectors. Whoop, whoop.
Yay, we're not nerdy at all.
No, I thought I'd try a whoop, whoop. Just, we'd never done that.
I'm always down for a good whoop.
I like a good whoop.
Well, and things that we whoop whoop about are Harry Potter books from all over the world, because that is what we collect. If it's in a different language or from another country, we are interested in it, especially if it has art that we don't get here in the United States, which, spoiler alert, we are going to talk about some of those books today. Because on today's episode, and I guess I'm revealing it right now, if the title of the episode didn't give it away, we are going to talk about all of the Harry Potter books available in Catalan. So, hooray for Catalan.
There's a lot. Spoiler alert again. There are a lot of books in Catalan, so there's a lot to talk about.
There are. So we've done a few episodes like this where we've talked about all the books from a particular country or in a particular language. For example, we've done all the books from India. We've done all the books from Germany.
Spain.
I feel like we did one more, didn't we? Spain. Yes, we did all the books of Spain.
And we did all of the French books as well. So we've done a lot because all of those have a lot of books to talk about.
Yeah, they do. It's exhausting, but they're all lovely.
They are. And when we did the Books of Spain episode, we did not talk about the books in Catalan, even though Catalonia is sort of in Spain because it is in Spain, but it's also, again, it's like a region within a country.
But
so
we didn't talk about just these.
We didn't talk about these. No. So we because of the sheer amount of them, we are going to devote an entire episode to the books in Catalan. So, hooray. But before we get...
I'm so
go
excited.
Ahead, Carly.
I was just saying, I'm so excited. Like, I'm actually really thrilled that we did a deep dive on Spain, but Spain itself, like, almost every individual language needs a deeper dive because they all offer quite a bit.
That's true. And I honestly think even books that we won't be, or books that don't have, like, a huge literary representation of, like, multiple printings of multiple...
Like Galician, for example.
Books. Right.
But it's still worthy to talk about because it's a really cool language. We'll get to them later, I'm sure.
Exactly. So I think those are topics for other days in the future and the distant future because we have a lot of languages that we can talk about. And we have a lot of great people that we know a lot about languages that can be on the show to talk about them, which is great. But before we get started with those, I have a really small amount of news. I don't know if you two have any news. But I
do have a little bit of news, but it's just, yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Well, you can share too. I finally bought the Philip Arrington bibliography of J.K. Rowling's collected works.
Mm-hmm. Which edition did you get? I'm not
the updated one.
Okay, I have the first edition. I'm thinking about trading it in for the updated though, because he fixed quite a bit of errors between the two.
Yeah, and there's just more books that came out after the first edition. The updated edition isn't updated to 2023, right?
Obviously,
so there's still things that are not in there, like the Scholastic 25th anniversary. That book isn't in there yet.
That looks like a sad trombone of an anniversary book.
Exactly. But for those that don't know what this is, I'm not super familiar with this, which is why I purchased one. And David in our Discord, he was also on one of the Collector Spotlight episodes. This is like, I think it's attached to him. I think he carries this around with him everywhere, which is saying something because this book is heavy. So it probably builds a lot of muscle mass. But what this book is it is literally just a bibliography of all of J.K. Rowling's works through...
But U.S. and U.K. It doesn't get into translations.
Yeah, not translations. But what is helpful with this book is that it has a lot of information about, like, number of printings per book, years that things came out in. Any sort of like, the illustrators for all of the editions. It has like any sort of like if there's an anomaly or an error in there, like it catalogs that. So it really is just a very thorough research-based book to have. And I picked this up solely because I was like feeling like if I keep asking people questions about books that I see that I know the answers are in this bibliography, I might as well have one. Like, it's kind of like borrowing a tool from your neighbor. Like, if you've borrowed it 3 times, like, and you're like, man, can I borrow your tin snips again?
Right.
And it's like, dude, this is the 4th time. You should probably go buy your own tin snips. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right.
I have referenced it a bit. I got really disappointed with some of the information in there, but again, it was the first edition. I'm very interested in the updated one.
Yeah, I haven't really dug very deep. It just arrived a few days ago, and it's not light reading. It's like a Hermione Granger light reading book.
Is.
It's just facts. It's not a story. It's not like fun like anecdotes. I mean, there are like a few anecdotes in there, but it's not to be read for entertainment.
No.
It's like
what does the
it's a
cover
bibliography.
look like?
That's what it is.
Because I know the first edition cover is beautiful. Okay. I love the first edition cover, yeah.
The updated book is a paperback.
Oh, mine's a hardcover.
And that's okay. I mean, and I also bought a used copy of this book. It came from like a Goodwill, and it was like $30. So I know retail price, the Bloomsbury sticker price. Oh, I wish I had it on here, but I don't see it.
I think it retails quite high, but I mean, there's a lot of effort that went into that. Like, I had to do a lot of annotated bibliographies and things when I was in grad school, and they're hard work. And this is a very mostly well-researched book. Like I said, it caused a lot of uproar, especially when it first came out, I think around 2015, 2016, maybe a little bit later, because it said the second print of Chamber of Secrets Bloomsbury was like limited to 200, and it is quite rare, but that would make it rarer than the first print hardcover Philosopher's Stone, not second print, first print, and that's just not accurate. We see more than that. So that information I know was gone through and corrected. But after this book came out in the first edition, it jumped prices tremendously because of that misinformation. So people were paying a lot, thinking that a book was a lot more rare than it was. So again, you have to trust the source, and you have to really research the source. But overall, I think it's a pretty good tool to have in your wheelhouse.
I agree. And there are some entertaining parts. Like, I'm looking at the Deathly Hallows UK edition, and it just goes over all of the reprint, all the changes that were made in the reprints, like line by line.
I love that.
Or like it'll say like page 38, line 31, Harry said dully to Harry said. Like,
I love that.
Very minimum. Like, you wouldn't notice if you were just reading it. Or like Hogsmeade Station with a capital S to Hogsmeade Station lowercase s. But then there are some other ones like around the edges of the yard to around the yard, or she turned on her heel and left to she left, or through clenched teeth to in a shaking voice. So there are some things that were changed, and out of context, it might not really make sense why, but you could go and look at it and see like, oh, I can see why that might have been changed. So just a cool tool to have. I think that's really cool,
especially because like I think we primarily collect first prints of things. So these are things that we wouldn't even know about. And when we're listening to like the audiobook or reading later print books, by this point we know the story so well, so we're not paying as much attention to the verbiage because we know where it goes. So I think that's really cool that they included that.
Right, I agree.
I don't actually know if it's in mine.
I would recommend picking this up if you want to collect English Harry Potter books, really. Like, if you are interested in earlier printings or like early editions or just different covers of English books, whether they're UK, Canadian, British,
Australian.
Like, I don't know, pick it up. It gives you some information, and it's a source to reference instead of just going on, I don't know, Facebook or eBay or just, looking online randomly.
Are always better.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, again, it talks about like the book club editions in here, and it talks about
it does?
I think so.
Oh, it does. It does, because mine does as well.
I know it talks about the Scholastic School Market Edition, but now I'm second guessing myself.
No, I think it does, because this is, I want to say the Arrington Bibliography first edition is where I got the idea, because I know book club editions of U.S. books exist from 1 through 5, because I at one point I owned them. I've never seen one for 6 and 7, so I wasn't sure they existed because I'd never seen them. But this bibliography actually kind of gives a nice breakdown timeline of when most of the book club editions were published, with the exception of the JLG. And it also says all 7 were published in book club format for Scholastic. Not through Scholastic, but for the 7 Scholastic books. I just haven't seen 6 and 7. But I don't think they were published that widely.
It does have a really good flow chart about value of your Harry Potter book.
Ah.
Is it accurate?
I think so.
I ask because I never mind helping people get correct information, but there's a lot of different places where people...
Here, I'll walk you through the spreadsheet. I'm going to ask you questions. You tell me yes or no. You ready? Mm-hmm. Is the title either Philosopher's Stone, Sorcerer's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, or Prisoner of Azkaban?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Is the book published by Bloomsbury?
Yes. I'll say yes.
Does it cover
Ted? You have a book in your head.
Does it cover Ted Smart?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So then I'll say no.
Oh, okay. Is the book published by Ted Smart or Scholastic?
Ted Smart.
Check descriptions for A1B, A2F, and A7D, increasing in value but still relatively slight.
I love it. I like that it doesn't give a numerical value and says relatively slight, which is accurate. The Ted Smarts have gone up in value. The first print Ted Smart Philosopher's Stone is selling higher than I personally value it as, but I also don't give them much value.
This book was revised in, let me look here.
2019 or 20 maybe?
Oh, I was going to say 17, but is that when the first one came out? 17. I think it's 17. This is the revised one.
I think the first one came out in... mine is up on the shelf. I just don't want to move my setup.
Yeah, and they're heavy. But what I do like is it doesn't really go into, this is the edition you have, but it's just a very quick,
yeah.
Is it a paperback? Is it a hardcover? And, the answers very quickly get to,
yes, no, maybe.
Well, it'll be is it this book? No. Then it may have some value, but it most likely has very little value.
Which
I like that.
I like that because that's kind of what we run into in some of the Facebook groups and things. It's a very nice.
But it's subjective. Significant commercial value, some value, but less than half that of A1. It has some commercial value. It has low commercial value unless signed. So
I love
cool.
that.
So,
I like that it doesn't give numerical stuff. A+.
So that's it. Philip Arrington Bibliography. You can go on Amazon and pick this up. Again, it's published by Bloomsbury, so it may or may not be super frequently available in the United States, but just use the internet and you can find a copy.
And I'm sure they'll continue updating it for as long as we keep getting new editions out from US and UK.
Hopefully. But if you don't own this book, don't buy the hardcover because it's not the updated version. You want the one that has fully updated edition on the cover, and it's a soft cover. So
very cool.
That's good to know.
That's really all I got for the news.
My news really, really fast, in case you missed the Instagram videos, is that I'm getting, books are really getting on the shelves. I'm getting unboxed. That's just about it. But it's big news over here. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's coming along. I can't wait to see when it's all done. It's cool to see the process, but it'll be even cooler when it's complete.
The amount of empty boxes being thrown around, but they're getting up. The books are getting put up, and it's starting to feel more and more like home, and I love that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, makes me happy. I'd forgotten how wonderful. Yeah, I'd forgotten how, because y'all have all moved it too, and I'd forgotten how amazing it feels to have my books being put up and to walk in and being like, oh, it's like home. It's like magic. This is mine. I've done this. These are the things that I've put together. And I don't know. It just feels a lot more homey. Like, even if I'm in the living room watching, like, Ghost Adventures or something, it's knowing that this is here and I can retreat to it whenever I need to or want to is so very cool. And it makes everything just feel so much better.
And you know what books would make you feel like home if you lived in the Catalonia region, which is an autonomous region in Spain?
Oh, no. Oh, my. I have no idea.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that it's all the books in Catalan. And there are so many. For our main segment today, we are talking about all of the books in Catalan. And there are, like I just said, there are so many of these books. There are a lot of new covers or unique covers to this language, but there are also a lot of covers that we have seen many times before. I feel like I'm going to miss some, and I might have missed some in our notes. So if you guys think of other ones under the other covers that I missed, like, feel free to add them. But the first book that we have to talk about, and we'll do it briefly because
chronological order, or do you want to do like full set order?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I kind of put it in like chronological, I guess, like how they were released was sort of ish. We'll find out. We'll see.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. There's
journey.
no rules.
What
no
a
rules.
journey.
We're on
no
a journey.
Rules.
No rules. But we'll just do like a brief little synopsis of each sort of thing. So the first one that we have to talk about, obviously, is the First State Catalan, which is one that you have definitely heard us talk about before. It is a really cute little light purple book with a really cool looking wizard on it. And we just call him the stock image wizard, like as if you were to go into Google and typed in wizard holding staff reading book, this guy would come up. And then they just like copied and pasted and put him onto this cover.
I want to say Sean McAllister found him on a different ad for like toothpaste or something.
I'd buy that toothpaste. I'll be honest.
I would totally.
Magically vanishes plaque.
With just a swish of your wand, your plaque is gone.
Just a swish of your magic
flick.
bristles.
It's definitely a pretty magical cover, and it is completely unique. You do not see this cover anywhere else in the world. You see this book in this language. That is it ever. And what's also cool is they only did this for book one. So there is no Chamber of Secrets with a stock image of a snake on it, unfortunately, because I would have loved to have seen what they would have done in this style. I feel like it would have been so funny. A snake. And then book three would be just like a stock image of, it would be like one of those like, I was going to say like a double-decker London bus, but like they Photoshop it to be purple.
Or prison. Fugitive.
Just a prison. Book four stock image would probably be just like green fire.
Oh.
Or just a stock image of a cup, and it's
like a hand
mug.
holding like a mug.
Wait, it's like Michael
beer
Scott's
stein.
like world's best boss mug, except it says Goblet of Fire just on the mug.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. I would love
like
that. Wait,
I
might make that.
You should. You should.
All right. Well, Order of the Phoenix would be a stock image of, I don't know. That's a hard one.
A phoenix.
No.
But there's because there's no
Bird.
like real phoenix
bird.
Just a bird.
Of a
like
receipt.
a red bird.
It could be a stock image of a
Receipt.
receipt, because so many translations mistranslated order to be like you ordered something instead of a group of. So it
See?
could be like a receipt for McDonald's just on the cover.
That's perfect. Okay. Half-Blood Prince could just be
Diary.
like a guy with a crown. Like a prince.
Yeah. A half
a
crown.
crown.
Half crown. Like
Half
on this
crown.
side only.
And Deathly
And the other side could be
Hallows.
bloody.
Grim Reaper.
Yeah, stock image of the Grim Reaper. That's perfect.
With
for
a,
Deathly
or a
Hallows.
stock image of a scythe.
Yeah, that
I
works
love
too.
it. All right, someone call the publisher. Let's get this done.
Let's do this.
Let's finish this set.
I love that.
Another set that I would have loved to see get finished is the next Catalan set, which I absolutely love. One of my favorites, more unique art. The books only came out for 1 through 3, and I always call it like the young art. It kind of comes off very like child-friendly, whimsical. The first one is literally just like Harry, and then there's a cute little train, and then there's Harry and Ron and a cute little car. And then a cute
I
little
love those.
Buckbeak.
They're very
like they're so
cartoony.
cute. Very
They are
cartoony. So cute. I wish that they came out
But
with
could you imagine
more.
as they continued to be cartoony like through 7? Like that would be dark cartoons.
Or no, it's just still like Smiley Harry, like
Uh,
good with like Voldemort, like also there,
Smiley
like
Smiley Harry holding his world's best boss mug.
cheese. Yeah,
That'd be so
oh
cute.
my god, yes.
I love it. That's definitely a set I wish they would have finished.
I know.
I think more so than the stock image set. I would have loved to have seen that set done. But books 1 through 3 are unbelievably cool. And again, unique art. Only the Catalan translation has these covers, which is awesome.
Well, and thus ends the unique art.
No, the next
Oh
one.
No.
You're right. The next one, yes.
The next
you
one
are
is also
correct.
unique. The large print ones came out for books 1 through 4. I remember these books. These books took me so long to track all of them down. And then Sean got me, I don't remember if it was 2 and 3 or 3 and 4, something like that, as like a
2
wedding
was
present.
in there. 2 was in there because we were bidding against each other, I think, for that 2.
I don't know. So 2, it was either 2 and 3 or 2 and 4. I had the other ones, and I was trying to complete this set for the longest time, and could not find them anywhere. And he sent them to me as a wedding present. It was like the nicest thing of all time.
He's so great. He's so
nice.
kind.
So book 1 of this set is like a really cool, like orangey color with like a train coming out of the like smoke. Book 2, hot pink cover with a
bubbles.
hand holding a star, just like
That was-
this.
That was the first of these 4 that I saw, and was
Oh
like,
my.
ooh,
What
Yeah.
did you
sizzling.
think?
Just
My first that I saw was the book 1, and I had to buy it. I think it was being sold by a library, like
cool.
somewhere in the U.S. for $10 or something, really cheap. And I didn't know what it was, so I snagged it really fast.
I remember seeing them like after Googling these books, and I think I realized that these ones I discovered that these ones existed before I realized any of the other Catalan like the other covers existed. So so I was on like the hunt looking for these books, which I guess was why it was like so touching to get them as a gift, because I just wanted them so desperately. So yeah, they're just obviously like one of a kind. Book 3 is literally just blue stars, like stars that you would see in the sky, not stars that you would hold gracefully in your hand, like imaged on book 2. It's like boop.
I figure it's more stock art from somewhere, because that's kind of
Yeah.
what they resemble.
Book
It's nice
2,
and
I
weird.
imagine the person like, are you looking for this?
Well, I kind of feel like the people who planned the cover of book 2 are like, pink is close to red.
It's so
Because red
funny.
is kind of like, there's nothing to do with the series or the story plot with these covers, minus book 1. Book 1, they kind of nailed it, and 2, 3, and 4, it's kind of like,
well, I feel like 3 is supposed to be a full moon. Like book 3 is like a full moon. Yeah, I feel like the bright, the one that looks like a bright star. I can
actually check this.
Is probably like a full moon, or it's just like a bigger zoomed in star. I don't know, but it kind of, I feel like, looks like maybe it's a full moon.
I think it could be a full moon.
Then that would make sense for book 3.
Yeah,
I don't know. Book 4, on the other hand, is just a very hard to see owl.
It's an owl?
I think so.
Do you?
Yeah, I thought it was an owl, and just like the contrast was just like way off.
I thought it was a forest up until today.
No, girl, that's definitely an owl.
The owl makes much more sense. So
You're both wrong. It's Cap'n Crunch.
What? Mind blown.
I've been lied to forever. By myself, mainly. I really didn't know. I'm so glad. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense than a forest. I know. Because I was so confused for years.
Yet another set that I would have loved to have seen completed with books 5, 6, and 7. And another set that I'm like, what would they be? I feel like book 5 would be like, it would be like a hospital curtain where you could like see a bed like poking out, but abstract like behind the curtain because of like St. Mungo's. I feel like it would be weird.
Somebody would have done that.
With a feather on the bed.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But a badly contrasted feather.
And it would be, the whole image would be lime green.
Oh.
Yeah, because that makes I love it.
Book 6 would be
water.
Just just like as if a pebble was like dropping into water and the water like rippled out.
Yeah.
Purple.
That's better than what I was thinking. I was thinking algae in water.
Purple.
Like a pond covered in algae. I like that better.
That's pretty good too. And then book 7 would just
be like a forest.
I was thinking like a scale. Oh, a forest would be good. Like just zoomed in, like all different trees.
Yeah, like all different trees, because they're camping for so much a part of it.
Yeah, that's actually good. That is significantly more rational than where I was gonna go with it. So I like it. There you go. And thus ends the unique art that we get from the Catalan books, which is a bummer. But in happy news, there are still so many more books.
But that's still 3 versions. If you only collect Philosopher's Stone books, that's 3 versions of book 1 that are exclusive
with unique art
to Catalan.
Yeah.
Like,
which is so cool.
And they're so delightful
only in Catalan.
To have.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I think that that's why I had to have like the quote unquote like complete sets for all of those unique art. I had to have book 1 through 4 of the large print. I had to have 1 through 3 of the young art. I had to have this stock image book. Had to.
Yeah.
Well, these so other ones I don't need the whole sets for. But I will say that I have a lot of them because I went to Barcelona and picked some of these up firsthand, which was such a cool experience.
Oh, neat.
So I was able to get the Johnny Duddle cover art because it came out in the Johnny Duddle cover art. I was able to get the Pottermore cover art, and I was able to get the House Edition cover as well, which so cool. Like, it's just awesome that those come out in other places. I don't know. Love them. It also is out in the Thomas Taylor art, and that I feel like is what it originally, and not originally, obviously, because we have these like different states, but that was like the first time that we got a full set was with the Thomas Taylor, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Actually, you're right. But what I do love about the Catalan books, or Catalan, is that
Oh, that's so cool. Brock just messaged us and said that book 7 is actually Grand Prix. So is it 1 through 6 is Thomas Taylor? Like the first time they came out with the complete set, it was...
I don't have book 7. I have one...
I mean, not all Thomas Taylor, obviously.
Thomas
book
Taylor
1
did
would
book
be
1.
Thomas Taylor. Right. So Thomas Taylor would have done... I meant the British cover art.
children's edition.
Gotcha.
We're going to categorize
The original
that way.
UK art, yes.
Thank you for clarifying. Right. So the original UK cover art was the first time that the Catalan set was a complete set, except for the fact that book 7 apparently was Grand Prix, according to Brock, which I didn't know.
Did they do only Grand Prix, or did they do both Crawcroft and Grand Prix, and the Grand Prix would be a later state? I'm just curious, because I don't have 6 and 7 yet of that edition. I have 1 through 5.
I have no idea. I have no idea and zero interest in completing that set.
But
so
the colors are slightly different on the covers, so I had to get them because I'm that crazy. But
it's not enough of a variation for me. Like I feel like...
No, it's not. To be fair,
I feel like German versus Low German is a big enough variation where I would have to get the whole set of Low German books. But the variation...
Low German's entirely different.
No, but I don't mean the language. I mean like cover art. Like I feel like the cover variation... The same way I feel like Luxembourgish is like the same, it's different enough from the original that I would consider it like a variation. So it's something that I'm interested in collecting. But
now I follow.
The Catalan, Thomas Taylor slash all of the other original UK cover artists, it just doesn't do it for me. So
is
we
book
got those...
7 a different size than the 1 through 6 of the hardcover? I don't know. I don't have it.
That is a question for Brock.
Yeah, because I don't have that one yet.
Brock is typing. Jeopardy music.
So many questions all of a sudden.
I mean, these are things that we don't know. We are always still learning. In the meantime... I will also mention that these books came in paperback and also that there were deluxe books for 1 through 4. What were those? Deluxe ones.
It's the same as the UK ones with the signature.
Cool.
Yeah, they actually came in a box set. You could buy them independently as well. And 1 through 4 were only made. But it's really cool. I thought I had book 3, but apparently I had book 1. Who knew? I certainly didn't. But
that's really cool.
It looks like the UK Deluxe. And they're not gilded on the side like the UK.
Huh.
Or if they are, it wore off. But I think these are actually a little bit slightly better than the UK as far as like paper quality, which...
I feel like this is me like trying to decide whether or not I need those, but I feel like I don't.
They're around. They're just sometimes overly priced. You have to shop very judiciously. I think I paid $20 for that.
I feel like I just have so many other books that I just at this point are a bigger priority.
I don't know that I would have bought it if it weren't $20. Because, again, the deluxes don't do anything for me, but I can do $20. It's the cost of a new book, essentially.
Yeah, that's not bad. Are there any other books that we can think of that I might have missed?
With the exception of the kind of, we're counting it, but not. We got the house edition.
Yeah, house editions, I think we said. Because I have the Hufflepuff one. I have the Pottermore. I have the Duddle. Did I get that for you, though, Carly?
No, I ordered it.
You did? Are you sure?
It came from Thrift.
I feel like I bought a Slytherin one when I was there, too. But I could be...
We talked about the soft cover. The soft cover was the first one that I got for book 1 to check Catalan off my translation list. Someone brought it back from Barcelona.
Mine was like a hardcover Thomas Taylor.
That was mine. I was so frustrated when I saw that there were other Catalans before the Thomas Taylor hardcover. It's like, what? I must get them all. And then I Googled, like, Melanie, Catalan Harry Potter, actually just put the title in of book 1, and I found all these other editions. And I was, like, frustrated.
Yeah, I think that's where, like, my whole search went wonky, was the fact that I found those large print ones first. Then I found out about all of the others and was like, ugh. And they all were not easy to find. Erik knows better than any of us, like, how tricky it is to get the stock image wizard.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit more
in a little while.
Just a couple minutes. Would be worth mentioning for Harrison purposes. Brock informed us that the first book is available in audiobook form.
Aww.
So, only
necessary.
Book 1?
That's what I hear.
Okay.
And we should also just mention the Valencian book too.
Yeah. Which is an adaptation, or it's what is it considered?
I guess we considered an adaptation from
an
Catalan.
Adaptation, I guess,
but
right?
If you're in Valencia, like, that term is, like, interchangeable with Catalan. So, like, it's not really, they wouldn't be like, oh, like,
it's not markedly different. That's why they only did 1 and 2.
Right. So I've never done, like, a Catalan to Valencian page by page. I don't know if Brock did that with those two languages.
Super interesting.
I feel like that sounds familiar, but maybe I'm just wishful thinking that project will happen in the future. But again, that book exists so under the radar that people, like, in the Valencia area are like, yeah, it's not a thing.
No idea.
I'm like, it's a thing. I know it's a thing. Here's a picture.
I own the thing.
Like, it's not a thing.
I remember when I was searching for the thing and people were like, it doesn't exist. And I was like, it does exist.
In Valencia. I was in Valencia and was asking around in bookstores and I was like, Harry Potter? And they're like, here it is. I'm like, no. Valencian. No. Like,
what would they give you? Catalan or Spanish?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I feel like that was most bookstores that I came across were Catalan. My treasure trove bookstore in Barcelona had so many different books. That's where I ended up getting everything. Oh, actually, I got an illustrated edition there too, but that wasn't Catalan. No, that wasn't Catalan. I take it back. That was just European Spanish.
Yeah.
But I did get that in that same bookstore as I got all of these other Catalan books, which is just really cool that, oh, look, like right next to each other, you could get all of these Harry Potter books, but no Valencian.
Sad.
All right. Fun fact drop from Brock is that the two Catalan macro editions are more distinct than the Valencian is from the first Catalan macro edition. So the Valencian is an adaptation from the second macro edition. Oh, the macro editions. That is whole
very
idea
interesting.
hurts my head.
Which in Simple Simon terms means that when they changed the Catalan version from the original version, and there were enough revisions to make it, in Potterglot's terms, significant enough to warrant a separate macro edition.
Now that I know where my Arabic is, I can actually find out what macro edition I have, which doesn't pertain, but I'm really excited about finding out.
Well, that is fun to find out. Oodle lolly. But what it is worth mentioning, we've talked about the Valencian book before on the show. For book one, I think is the cooler looking of the two.
I love book one.
Just because of it's the Thomas Taylor art, but it's just different. It's almost like surfer dude colors with like a teal and like an orange and black, and
so cool.
It's cool. It's the same art, but it's just done differently, and you see it on my shelf. I'm looking like behind me via my computer camera. It just sticks out so boldly among the other translations. So just a really cool book. And book two, it's not that different than the regular book two.
Huh.
I don't have book two.
I don't have book two either, but I know that it's not as crazy as book one. Otherwise, I would have bought it.
Book 2
Yeah,
Valencian?
I think so too.
Yeah.
I have both. I don't know where they are. I know they're somewhere in this mess. But
We'll get there.
the spine is pretty. I mean, that's all I know.
Yeah, that's true. It does have a pretty spine.
Yeah,
That's
I love the boards
different
and
enough
stuff.
in
But
that
that's
way,
a different... We'll get to those a different day.
We will. Well,
Well-
Melanie, I think you did it.
Thank you. I had a really good transition from what Carly
sorry.
just said, and now, the moment it's too far gone. I don't even remember from 2 seconds ago what it was that I was gonna say. I know. Just take the thought out of my brain, put it into the pensieve, or turn my time turner back in time so I remember the train of thought. I don't know. Is that Erik is turning the time turner? Boop, 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 boop.
Okay. I have one. It's somewhere.
I thought your earrings were time turner earrings, honestly.
No, they're just silver doodads.
From far away. That's
But
what
they
I
kind of look
definitely
like time
thought that they
turners,
were.
actually. From now that you said that, I'm gonna wear them forever as weird time turner earrings. Thank you.
That's amazing. You're so welcome. All right, let us talk a little bit more about one of these amazing Catalan books, or our translation of the show.
Yay! And I actually have it in person. And I'm so excited I'm actually holding the book in my hand. So the translation of the show we talked about just a little bit before is the First State Catalan, which I love this book. I can't say enough nice things about it. It's so comically wonderful. I think everyone should own it because it just adds a little bit je ne sais quoi to the... I don't know. Like, it just adds a little bit more magic to have because it's so uniquely weird.
It is
Right?
weird.
It's got the stock image of the wizard, which I think McAllister posted off of some other ad that was like toothpaste or something like that. And it's just delightful to own. I feel like it's such a neat piece of publishing history because Harry Potter wasn't big enough at the time to warrant anything other than a stock image, which is weird to think about. You know, and I figure the meeting was kind of like how Erik always imagined, was like, okay, Bob, this looks great. And then they move on.
Yeah,
And I
let's
think it's so
Google a
neat to
wizard.
own.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's good. All right.
And then also, like,
go.
clip art, Google Images, all of those things were in their absolute infancy because this was first published. When was it published?
99.
1999, I think. Yeah, 99. So everything was, like, the internet was still very much in its infancy. And public domain things, which I'm pretty sure this wizard is public domain, was just hanging out there. And I think that's so neat. So I think it's kind of a neat little snapshot of cultural history as well. Anyway, moving forward, this translation was translated first by Laura. I have no idea how to pronounce that, the middle name. Erik, do you?
I will have to scroll down because my notes are not loading.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
It's
There
Laura.
There we go. Laura. It'd be Laura Escorihuela Martinez.
Très bien. Merci. Thank you.
De nada.
And published by Editorial Impuries. I know that
Impuries.
the accents of the U, so that's going to get more emphasis, but I think I struggle with that. So, information on the language in general. Catalan is a Western Romance language. It is the official language of Andorra, which I've actually been to, beautiful part of this world, and an official language of two autonomous communities in eastern Spain, Catalonia and the Balearic Islands. The language is officially styled as Valencian in the Valencian community. It is also semi-official has semi-official status in the Italian commune of Alghero. Really? That's so cool.
That's what I read.
I believe
what it
you're
says.
absolutely right. I love the Catalan language. It is one that I feel like does not get enough airtime.
Well, I think like a lot of times, and this is just me, like, as an ignorant youngster, like, you hear Spain and I'm like, oh, the people there speak Spanish. Like, I didn't necessarily know, and I think it wasn't until I got into collecting as deep as I am in collecting, all of the different dialects and different, like, languages. Like, Catalan is very, very different from just our European Spanish translation. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, you learn something new every day.
Yep. I love that the Harry Potter translations help represent some of the rich linguistic diversity that comes out of Spain. So I'm very thrilled that there is actually a Catalan example.
And how did we... Right? We talk about that all the time. Spain does a great job of preserving languages.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
Because
really
people
do.
care about them. It's important. And they do something about it, which is awesome.
I agree entirely. How did you two get yours? I think I got mine off of Total Colección. Like, I think I found the seller and I was like, I will pay your price. And I emailed them and they still had the book and we went from there.
Oh,
no, I think I traded with Peter for sure. This just gives me vibes of I either traded with Peter or Sean helped me find it or something along the lines of that. But I feel like this was a Peter book.
I traded with Brian and I traded a Kamai book. And I don't know if it was book 1 or 2. I feel like it was book 2. Because I
think I remember you talking about that. I think it was a book 2 because you had more book 2s than book 1s of Kumai.
I never had any book 1s and book 2s at the same time. Like I was out of book 1 and then I got a bunch of book 2 and now I'm out of everything and they're hard to find. So I'm sorry, everyone. I'm out. But no, I think it was just a book. Like Brian was really looking for the Kamai book 2, and he knew I was looking for this book for a while, and I wasn't really aggressively pursuing it. Like people would always be like, "Hey, here's one on eBay for $700," and I'm like, "No, not paying $700." It's probably not $700, but it was a lot, and there would be ones that would be cheaper, but then they'd get snatched up. But I don't know how he got this second copy, but he still has a copy, so. We each just had an extra copy of a book that the other person needed, and they were both rare enough where we're like, hey, I guess that seems fair. So it's a pretty good trade.
I think so. I know we lightly touched on it, but on a scale of 1 to 5, how difficult is this book to get today?
It's pretty hard. Yeah, I would say like between a 3 and a 4. Like 4, more so like a 4.
I think it's like a 3.754.
It's like a 3.83 repeating.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pi. It's just pi.
It's about a 3.14159.
My wife knows a lot of pi, and now that you said that, and she'll be listening, and she'll
I think it's 15926. That's as far as I know. 3.1415926. We'll just do one episode.
26535.
I was gonna say we'll just Google pi and we'll just do a whole episode just reciting it.
That'll be the main segment. We'll take turns.
This episode of Dialogue Alley is brought to you by the number pi.
Pi.
Not the food, the number. No, I agree.
That makes me
I don't
think of
see
Big
this
Bang
book
Theory.
a lot, and when I do, it's always on eBay, and it's always listed for really high.
There's a few
value.
sellers on eBay who seem to get this book a lot more than others, but it's always listed for, I think, still too high.
I would like to believe that if you went to Spain, you could probably find this book easier if you're just poking around. like used bookstores, or if you
or even like local
know the
Craigslist
local
style.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly
Local
what I was going.
Craigslist style websites or Facebook, like local Facebook marketplaces, because
And, like,
I would, or
Wallapop.
even library sales, like old library sales, because these libraries cycle out their books, and at some point, I'm sure this was a book somewhere in a library.
Yep.
So places like that would be where I would look before I'd pay, if you can get to Spain, of course, before I'd pay. I mean, I've seen them priced at $450, $500. I don't think they're selling there. I think
I don't know how many there are, like how many were printed in this initial
I don't
run.
know.
I do
No,
know
and
there are
that-
2 editions. There's a first edition and a second edition because the
Right.
title page says both. I don't know if yours does, but mine says
Oh, I don't know.
like first edition
Mine
1999,
actually-
second edition also 1999, both in March of 99, March of 99.
Oh, mine too. That's cool.
yeah, mine says that. So there were 2 editions.
So I'm guessing
Of
I
this
have the
first
second
date.
edition.
Me too.
Yeah. Want to see?
Cool.
The
So-
search continues. No, I'm kidding.
Dang it.
Watch there be another clip art wizard that we've never found. Oh, that would just make me angry at that this point.
Brock just mentioned that he has heard 1,500 copies cited in that print run.
I would think that sounds right for as many as we see pop up, which isn't many.
Right. And he says it also came with a matching bookmark. Oh.
I have that
precious.
bookmark somewhere
I-
in this mess.
I was going to say,
have it.
I've seen that bookmark, and I think you have it, Carly.
I have the bookmark. I have the bookmark for 2 and 3 as well. Somewhere in here. They're not with the books, which I don't understand. But I also packed weird, apparently, given my Bulgarian problems. So, who knows? Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, rarity and value. I keep thinking $250 for this book. If I were to just pop it on eBay today, I would probably list it at $250, given the condition and whatnot.
I agree 100%.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the number that I would have said also.
I don't see a lot of them selling in the open marketplace, making valuing it a bit harder. I know that they get done. There's like private trades and whatnot, but again, it's not open public market, so it's harder to gauge. But $250 feels right for right now. Should we get into the Todd scale?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yay!
Wait, did you mention that, like, well, I guess this is more of a cover thing, but this book, it's like the way the cover is designed, it's like a series of books. It's almost like that UK book within a book picture.
Yes.
Where, like,
I
this is number
97
of, like, the thing. Yeah, and if you go to the flap, like, on the back, it lists the books that came before it, 89 through 96.
And now
that
I
were
do have a
published and
question.
Tuesdays with
translated.
Maury is on there. Number
Yeah,
90s Tuesdays
so
with Maury.
I get the impression that, like, they were just translating, like, very notable books if you look at the list. So
That's cool.
I am curious if the 1,500 copies includes both edition 1 and 2 or 1,500 copies of both. Because I would say to have 3,000 of these, I don't know that we see enough to have 3,000 of these. Even though it is a 20-plus-year-old book, you like when certain amounts are published that you see them around. So I don't know. I would be curious. Okay.
I was only mentioning that because I think the style of this book is heavily influenced based on, like, the template that was used for all of these books that they were translating.
Right.
Like, if you look at it on the spine, I'm guessing if you look at all the other ones prior, it would look very similar with just a different
Well, and they're
title.
numbered. Like, they do
Well,
have that
that's what
number
I'm
there on
saying.
the spine. So
Also,
you're
what's-
probably correct.
What's interesting about that is that Young Art has that same sort of thing as well, where they have all 3 of them are numbered. However, books 1 and 3, and I'm looking at them right behind me right now. Books 1 and 3 have the purple, and book 2 does not. Book 2 has like a little white
Why
spine.
does it didn't? Why I'm
Why-
looking at the
why
2
we-
also.
why did we do
skip
that?
the purple?
I
What
don't
do we
know.
have against purple? Like,
Ran
just
out of
make it all
ink.
uniform. I know. Random rant. Sorry.
Anyway,
But
sorry.
they
yeah,
also
I-
continue
Let's smell
the numbering on the adult editions as well. So, anyway, moving on. Let's smell it. What do we think?
I like it a lot, actually.
I do too. I'm gonna have to say this is probably
E for me. I like it a lot.
I like it much better than I thought I would, to be honest. I really do.
I do too.
So what do you give it, Carly?
Yeah, Carly, what letter?
I want to go outstanding, but it's not Slovak 20th anniversary outstanding, so I feel like that's the benchmark for outstanding. But it's also more than it's got to be an E+. It's an E+ for me.
Dreadful. I hate it. It smells like a dusty doctor's office.
Okay.
Like the combination of like antiseptic and dust. Like,
I'm not getting that at all.
Like if you had a thick layer of dust at your great Aunt Tilly's house and she used alcohol wipes to clean it and you had that wet, soggy dust because there was just so much dust, that's what this book smells like.
You know, we had a Grandma Tilly, and she lived in the house in Diamond Bluff, and we still have the house in Diamond Bluff, and there's no running water, and it's just like falling into decay and despair, and no one ever even goes in it. So,
well, if you went in it, I bet it would smell like this book.
I will bring you there when you come here.
That makes me so
I
sad.
will drive you to Diamond Bluff, Wisconsin. You could go in the homestead for Grandma Tilly, and you can smell the house. And
I just made up that name.
Good.
I
well,
just literally
it fit perfectly into the narrative
I
of
made
my
it up,
family.
but it fit the narrative of what I think of this book.
My
that makes me
grandpa's
so
grandma's
sad.
house.
I'm sure she was a lovely woman.
Because the smell on my book is E+. Like, I'm going to stick with it.
I don't like it.
Mine is very sweet smelling. I don't know how yours smell. It makes me wonder if all of three of ours smell slightly different.
All right, hold
Mine
on.
smells very sweet. But not pungent, not dusty. It smells wonderfully sweet, almost floral. So I'm curious if mine was stored around a lot of perfume from the person who I bought it from. Because it certainly hasn't been around perfume in my existence since I've had it.
I'm calling for backup.
I thought you were Googling my Grandma Tilly.
No, I'm
Great Grandma Tilly.
texting my husband because I'm dying to see what he thinks of this book. If he's still
She'd be my
upstairs.
great Grandma Tilly.
Great Grandma Tilly.
Yeah.
What does yours smell like, Eric? You said yours is really... What does yours smell like?
Just smells like kind of sweet, actually. Like
yeah, mine smells sweet. It's that sweet, almost floral, like a little bit of perfume, but not quite.
All right, Alon's in bed. Just kidding.
Oh.
I'll get back to you on what he thinks because I'm sure he's gonna love it.
Yeah,
he's gonna be like,
Discord.
It smells like
Post
the Hobbit.
Post a 24-second bonus episode of Alon just talking.
It smells like the Hobbit.
It probably does. Maybe that's why I like it too. Okay, what's our next one?
Size and proportions. What do we think?
I'd give it an acceptable. I think it's fine. There's nothing like phenomenal about the size and proportions in my head.
I think it's too wide for me. I'm giving it an acceptable also. I think it's fine, but I wish it wasn't as it's like bigger than I would think it would be, and I wish it was a little smaller.
So I'm going to give it an exceeds expectations. I actually love how wide it is. That's one of the things I actually love about these cartoon editions is it's so, like the proportions themselves are almost cartoony. Like when you're watching a cartoon and you see books drawn, they're like slightly out of proportion. And I feel like this actually fits with that. So it exceeds expectations for me.
All right.
All right.
And how does it feel in your hand?
I say like also acceptable. It's a matte texture book. It's not really like I don't know. It's not like a super smooth texture. I would say like its one outstanding quality is the fact that like the rectangle at the top that has the title is glossy and the wizard that overlays it is matte. So like that feels really cool if you run your fingers over it. But other than that, it's perfectly acceptable.
I would agree with you, and I don't think that's bad. Acceptable is good.
No, acceptable is fine. And I'm actually acceptable here as well. It feels like a book in my hand. Nothing special about it.
We've seen paperbacks do that same like dual texture with the glossy and matte with the Bosnian books, and it's not as good. It's not as good as that, but it's along the same line, so it's acceptable.
I agree. It's acceptable. It's not bad. It's just acceptable. Quality of the book.
I would also say acceptable, I think. I think because of the cover, it's not like super, super thick for a paperback cover. So mine has like quite a few dings in it. However, like this book is old. I feel like the glue doesn't hold super well. Like you can kind of see where the sections are of like paper where it's like, oh, we took
big time. Like
right? It's like I took 20 pages, I folded them in half, and then I took that middle and I glued it in. And then lather, rinse, repeat 1,000 times. And I feel like if I just were to hold that whole section, I could pull it right off of the spine.
Probably.
So yeah, I don't know. What did I say acceptable? I would honestly
said acceptable.
I might lean more toward poor just because of that.
I was leaning towards poor, so I'll go there with you. I'll go poor with you on that.
Thank you. I feel
I'm actually going to say
attacky.
exceeds expectations.
Oh.
And
I love the diversity of this episode.
I know. This is so much fun. So the reason I'm saying that is my spine is fairly well creased. So the book has been read. This is a book that when you probably read it the first time through, I see the spine creasing because my spine is fairly creased. There's one big crease down the middle and some little creases on either side. But all the pages are still nice and tight. I don't have a loose one. And when I flop over either the first cover or the back cover, front cover or back cover, they do flop open entirely. They lay flat, but it's not loose. And then I try the back page and it also completely flat, but it's also not loose. And I can continue that throughout the whole of the book as I can open the pages. They'll lay open. So it's been read, but they're not loose. So it'll withstand readings. So I'm going to say exceeds expectations here for a book that looks like it wasn't made well. I feel like the glue that bound it isn't too terrible.
I'm going to counterpoint that by saying if you open up the book, the font is very small. And
really? Mine is not.
I think mine looks small.
Mine looks
I just
like
feel like
points.
it's like it looks like a lot of words on a page.
It does. Well, and like the title is they're just small.
Yeah,
Nah.
like
It looks
like a usual book.
It feels small to me.
Like
It's got good margins, but it feels small.
It has nice galleys, it has nice margins, it has nice top and bottom. I think it's sectioned pretty well. I'm going to say still exceeds expectations.
All right, go for
I would
it.
expect a book that is made not super well looking, because I mean, I'm sure they didn't spend a lot of time on the cover. We've already discussed that, but we'll get to that more in depth in a second. Exceeds expectations still for quality. I would expect less from it. Cover art interpretation.
I mean,
For the unique quality.
it's got to be an
outstanding.
outstanding. I feel like it's got to be outstanding just because of exactly how unique.
If you had
this
showed
cover
me
is.
though, but this is like 2023 me saying outstanding because of all the other books I have. If I just looked at this book in a store, I would be like, no way. Sorry.
I
Like,
might buy it
not
out of
reading
comical,
that's a zonkaroo. But comparing
feel-
it to other things, which means, is it really an outstanding? Because if we're like objectively trying to
I know that's
curb
how
our
I feel.
opinions a little bit.
So
like,
if we were to see this book in a store, I would probably buy it because I do buy eccentric covers. I don't necessarily read them.
I think it's terrible though. Like
It
to
is
try to
it
get
is
kids to read a
terrible.
book.
I would honestly
It is
probably
a
think that it's
it is terrible.
unauthorized. Like if I saw this, I
yeah.
would be like, "That's a fake book. That is not a real book."
Yes.
Yeah. Like if it was being sold by like Casa del Libro, it would lend itself to being authentic or authorized rather. So I would buy it for the novelty because it is so weird. Like when I was living in Spain and I would tootle into Casa del Libro from time to time, if I were to see this book on the shelf and be like, that is too ridiculous, I have to buy it. But I wouldn't buy it out of I must read the book. I would buy it because it was ridiculous.
So that's why 2023 I love this cover. It's an outstanding.
I oscillate between dreadful and outstanding.
However,
like-
I'm gonna give it as my score. I'm going to give it a dreadful because there was zero effort was put into this cover.
I know.
It was
here's
the generic template for this series of books that we're translating. Someone quick find a wizard, we'll slap it on there. Done. I would honestly, I bet the process of making this cover design took less than 15 minutes.
If that. And I'm pretty sure that the amount of effort into this first cover shows how little they thought of the book, how much they thought the book would succeed. Not much. They didn't. I can hear Erik narrating the meeting right now between Bob and Fred. And it's kind of entertaining. Like, great, Bob. Great, Fred. Okay, let's go to lunch kind of thing.
Those are very popular names in Spain.
Right? So
Catalonia. Bob.
Right. Specifically.
And Fred.
And I go between dreadful and outstanding because I love how eccentric it is. I love how different it is. But as an objective book cover, if I were to walk into a bookstore today, I would probably buy it, but only because it was weird, not because I'd want to read the book.
Yeah.
Which gives me a pour.
It's not quite a troll for me because it's still like, it's a wizard on a book about Harry Potter and magic, but it's still like very, very lazy, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like they didn't know, right? And people started to buy it. So then they like, hey,
We've got to do better.
We got to do better, you guys. They're buying this book. Ugh. You guys remember when I just like, I don't know, I was like, I was scrambling and I slapped that wizard on there and I was like, this is it. And they're like, okay, fine. And people are buying it and it's kind of embarrassing. So we gotta fix this situation now, people.
And they did better, but it
draw?
was still
Anyone
kind
here
of.
Can you draw? Anyone? You? Okay, do your best. Looks good enough. Better than that. Let's do it.
Yep. Great, George. Good art. Good art. Yeah.
Good job, George.
Jorge.
That was great.
Right. It would likely be Jorge, not George.
Right. Did you rate it, Melanie?
I don't know. I think I said outstanding before when we were talking about it, but then I'm not really talking about it. I'm just going to give it an acceptable because I could go either way. So I'll just be in the middle. How's that?
One of the hardest books I've had to tot scale. I'm going to be really honest because I love this book for how weird it is,
Like
but
the Persian
objectively
book.
it's hard. Yeah.
The same conundrum where you're like, I love it so much, yet it's not great. But I love it.
The Persian books are very easy for me to give dreadful to. This one is hard.
But I still love them.
They're weird.
Right. And I love it.
They're very strange. But I
I'm
love
out there,
how eccentric
Jerry.
they are.
Loving every minute of it.
I love the dinosaurs on book 4. They're fabulous. What do we think is the X factor? We can't all say stock images.
I'm going to say
think
the photo.
actually, wouldn't this be this is the only Harry Potter book I know of that actually has a stock image.
It works. Well, the X Factor could be the bookmark that it came with that I don't have, Carly. You could say that.
Well, I could say many things.
I'm going with the just the picture of J.K. Rowling on the inside. That just looks very like somber.
I wrote a book. Yeah, I wrote a book.
I wrote a
You
book
should buy
and
it.
and they just showed me the picture of the wizard and I was like, oh.
It's not
okay.
The picture of Joe isn't convincing me to buy the book either.
No. Are you proud of it? Yeah, well, it's okay.
And going back to what you'd mentioned earlier about how it looks like it's in a series of other translations and things, it's like, but it's a part of things you should also buy, like buy them all kind of thing. I feel like they're advertising. So, and they are. I'm going to have to take Erik's cop out and say the bookmark.
It's fine. It's not a cop-out. That's a cool little thing that comes with it.
Yeah. I don't know.
Did it come with all of them, though? Or just like first or second edition, maybe? I don't know.
I guess my X factor is the fact that there's like a glossy bit on the cover with the matte bit. And if you like put your finger across the wizard's face back and forth, it feels cool. Like that's my X factor. That's where we're at with this book. No, you gotta do it
Melanie's
slow.
X factor
Erik,
is she
you're
likes
doing
to
it wrong.
rub a wizard's face.
Oh, God, Carly.
Sorry, it's been a long day.
Uh,
But it was really funny in my head. But also the matte bit versus shiny bit is very prevalent, actually much more prevalent on the back side of the book than the front. I don't know. This is a hard X Factor book, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's very plain. Like, it's a very plain book.
Like,
Which
even
maybe
if
that's
you
the
look
X Factor.
at...
It's so plain.
If you look at the half title page, it's very, like, there's nothing to it. It says Harry Potter y la Piedra Filosofal, and then at the very, very bottom, Narrativa 97. Like, that's it. I feel like that's as much effort was put in the book.
It's what you need in a book, and that's it. It's got a cover. It's got the words on the inside, and it's got a back cover, and there are chapters.
And there's a picture of the author in there. Wonderful.
Picture of the author, and done. We did it.
I think this book just shows how little they thought the book would do successful-wise. Like, successfully, they didn't think very much of it, and they were very wrong.
I'd like to know what the other translations in this series look like, if they're just as, like, generic.
That's actually a really good question that I've never thought about much. I know, like, if you look at the Bloomsbury 21st Reads or 21 Reads for the 21st Century, they all look similar to that Bloomsbury book.
Well, so I guess if you're listening and you have another book in this series, if you're a Catalan speaker, like, let us know if you have any of these other...
Yeah, I would love to know. That's so cool.
These series.
I would love to know. I would love to know. Yeah, send us a message either on our Gmail at dialoguealleypodcast@gmail or in our Instagram, Dialogue Alley Podcast. We'd love to know. That's a very good question, Erik. Thank you.
And on that compliment, I will say that is all the time we have on this episode of Dialogue Alley, which we didn't mention was episode 38 of season 3, which we should mention.
Oh, I think we should.
I feel like you did mention it.
Did I? Well, what I didn't mention, and I should
you.
mention now, is that it's the last week of June, if you're listening to this, and this is going to be the last episode that comes out weekly for a while. We're going to kind of take a little summer break action and switch to an every other week situation going on. So, you know, we have summer plans and whatnot and summer vacations, and we want to make sure that we can put a product out that's up to our standards and not having to scramble weekly to find people to be here to record. So this way we can just make sure that all of us can enjoy our vacations. Melanie's going on vacation next week. I'll be on vacation for a few weeks in August. Carly's
and I'll be
busy.
I'll be going back to Texas actually in July or August too.
Right. So much like you all, we are taking trips too. So we're taking a little bit of a break. So we'll still have content for you every other week. There'll still be, the bonus episodes that we'll try to get out to you if you are a Patreon subscriber, which is a little good plug right there. If you want to support us on Patreon, you can do so. And by supporting us on, we have 3 different tiers. Tier 2 is kind of where everyone's joining, I suppose. That's the sweet spot, I guess.
It's a pretty good tier.
It's a good tier. You get bonus episodes, you get early access to the episodes, you get it ad-free, and you get access to our Discord and our resources tab. So that's kind of like the big draw, I guess, of tier 2, which is called the order member tier. We could put a generic clip art picture on there and just do that.
Yeah.
But anyway, some other housekeeping things. You can find us on Instagram. Carly's at All the Pretty Books. I am at Nocturne Erik. Melanie is at the Harry Potter Collection. You can check out all these websites, alltheprettybooks.net, theharrypottercollection.com, dialoguealley.com. You can get lots of pictures of these books and other Harry Potter books that we talk about. You You can also find us on MuggleNet's website. So we are a MuggleNet family podcast. If you like Harry Potter stuff and want more Harry Potter stuff, go check out MuggleNet. They have a lot of great articles and podcasts for you to listen to keep your Harry Potter goblet of fire full of things.
I think
Carly
you hit the nail on the head.
Perfect. Carly just held up another book that is one of Melanie's favorites. It was the Danish book. She just flashed it up on the screen there very briefly.
It's so much fun to see in person again.
I know, it's great. I love rediscover all of these books that we've talked about that you've had for so long that you just haven't had for so long. Some other things that you can do is leave us a review. If you want to leave us a review on whatever platform you're listening to us on, whether that be Apple, Google, Spotify. Actually, you can't do Google reviews for some reason. So Apple, Spotify, Pandora.
I wonder why.
I don't know, because you can leave a Google review for anything, just not a podcast. So
That's
you could
weird.
leave a Google review on Google Podcasts about how you can't leave a review on Google Podcasts.
That's very meta.
1 star. No, can't leave reviews. But I guess with all of that being said, it is time to walk back through the archway and into all of our daily lives. And we'll catch you not next week, but the following week on Dialogue Alley Podcast. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
See ya.